Go ahead and step out.
No.
Okay. Well, you're under arrest, okay?
I'm not under arrest.
Get out of the car. Get out of the car.
I'm not getting out. You guys are violating. Hey, you can't just
get out of the car.
My truck.
Get out of the car. Step out of the car.
Step out.
Hey, step out of the car.
Step out. We're going to force you out if you don't.
Step out of the car. You're under arrest.
Whoa, easy, fellas. For me? There you go. You're good now.
There you go. All right.
Every person who knowingly resists any executive officer in the performance of his duty is guilty of a misdemeanor. That's the exact language sitting inside Oklahoma's resisting statute. Keep that sentence in your head, because tonight, one broken brake light is going to test every word of it. Picture this: a quiet street in Edmond, Oklahoma, September 17th, 2022. A patrol car's headlights catch something small, a third brake light, the little one mounted high on the back window. Not working. That's the entire spark, one bulb, one flicker of red that isn't there. And from that single missing light, a man's night is about to unravel. On camera. Before we go deeper into what the body cam actually shows, make sure you're subscribed to Police Misconduct Case, because we don't just cover the story, we follow the evidence. The driver is Brandon Riles, 39 years old. He pulls into a parking lot. The officer flips on his lights. And right here, in the first 10 seconds, the case splits into two stories. The officer says this is a stop for an equipment violation observed on the road. Riles says, I was already parked. You turned your lights on after the fact. This doesn't count. Two men, two realities, one body cam that's about to decide who's right. The officer asks for ID. Riles refuses. He tells the officer he doesn't have to identify himself, that this is a First Amendment issue. It isn't. The First Amendment protects speech. It does not erase a state's identification requirement during a lawful stop.
On September 17th, 2022, an officer with the Edmond Police Department in Edmond, Oklahoma was on patrol when he saw a silver vehicle with a broken third brake light. The 39-year-old driver, Brandon Riles, turned into a parking lot, and the officer activated his emergency lights to conduct a stop of the vehicle. The interaction that followed was captured on the officer's body camera.
How you doing?
Pretty good.
Where's I'm pulling you over, your third brake light's out.
My third brake light?
Yeah, the one
middle?
yeah.
No, it works pretty good.
No, it doesn't.
Huh.
See your ID, please?
I don't have one.
Okay. You don't have one at all?
I haven't violated anything or heard the First Amendment, so I'll need to show you ID. You actually stopped there, then when I pulled in here, then you pulled me over. So I've been reporting this whole time.
Can you start me another?
Yeah, go ahead and start another unit.
Okay, your third brake light is out. And perfect enough, my supervisor's pulling up.
All right, that's cool.
Cool.
Thank you.
So you have no ID on you. Are you refusing to identify yourself?
I don't talk to police, sir.
Okay. Well, easy enough. Go ahead and put your car in park for me. It's in park? Okay, cool. Huh?
That's your night.
It's good. All right, go ahead and step out of the car for me.
No.
Okay, so this is how this is going to go, okay? I have a legal right to remove you from the vehicle.
How?
It's case law from the Supreme Court.
No, it's not. So
it 100% is. You've been pulled over for a traffic violation.
Public parking
Can you
lot.
please let me finish?
Dude, I've been recording this whole time.
You have a third brake. Hit your brakes. Hit your brakes. So are you refusing to exit the vehicle?
Yeah.
Okay. If you don't exit the vehicle, I'm going to place you under arrest, okay?
For what?
For resisting, because you're not following my
arrest.
Yeah. Because I'm giving you a legal
What am I
order.
resisting arrest from?
I'm giving you a legal order.
Property. What am I resisting arrest from?
Okay. I'm giving you a legal order
I
to exit this vehicle.
And then you pull me over.
I'm giving you a legal order to exit this vehicle.
The officer informs Mr. Riles that he will be arrested for resisting if he does not step out of the vehicle. As we've discussed many times on ATA, officers generally have the authority to order individuals to step out of vehicles during traffic stops under the infamous MIMS case. Under Section 268 of Title 21 of the Oklahoma statutes, quote, every person who knowingly resists by the use of force or violence any executive officer in the performance of his duty is guilty of a misdemeanor. As the Court of Criminal Appeals of Oklahoma explained in the 1976 case of Reams versus State, quote, in order to sustain a charge of resisting an officer in the discharge of his official duty, it is necessary for the proof to show some act of aggression on the part of the accused from which the court and jury can reasonably infer forcible resistance or interference.
But Riles keeps building his argument out of phrases he's heard online, not phrases he's actually read in full text. That's the irony at the center of this entire encounter. A man who believes he knows the Constitution better than the officer in front of him while breaking the one law that actually applies to him tonight. Here's the moment everything tightens. The officer gives a direct order: step out of the vehicle. Under a Supreme Court precedent from 1977, officers are allowed to order a driver out of a car during a lawful stop.
Now, because Mr. Riles did not act aggressively or forcibly resist, it is highly unlikely that a court would find that his refusal to exit the vehicle was sufficient to sustain a conviction for resisting an officer. However, according to the state obstruction statute, which is codified in Section 540 of Title 21 of the Oklahoma statutes, quote, any person who willfully delays or obstructs any public officer in the discharge or attempt to discharge any duty of his or her office is guilty of a misdemeanor. In the 2013 case of Tucker versus Oklahoma City, the U.S. District Court for the Western District of Oklahoma found that officers had probable cause to arrest an individual for obstruction when he failed to comply with lawful orders by initially refusing to obey emergency signals to stop his vehicle and delaying his compliance with instructions to exit the vehicle and move away from it after he eventually stopped. Based on this precedent, a court would likely conclude that Mr. Riles' refusal to exit the vehicle was adequate to support an obstruction charge. It's also important to note that in the 2015 case of State versus Nelson, the Court of Criminal Appeals of Oklahoma held that citizens do not have the right to resist an illegal traffic stop, and that consequently, an individual could be convicted of obstruction for refusing to comply with officer commands during a traffic stop that was later held to be illegal. In reaching this conclusion, the court argued that, now I'm quoting, the typical motorist simply is not equipped to make a determination of whether there is a legal basis for a traffic stop, and that the issue of whether an officer has probable cause to make the traffic stop, now quoting again, should be resolved in a courtroom, not in the streets. Accordingly, even if a court determined that the underlying traffic stop was unlawful, it is still likely that it would conclude that Mr. Riles violated the obstruction statute by refusing to exit the vehicle.
Riles refuses. Once, twice, a third time. And with each refusal, the charge sitting under him quietly shifts from a fix-it ticket toward obstruction. Ask yourself this: at what exact moment does a $50 equipment violation turn into a pair of handcuffs? Riles stays seated. He calls for a supervisor. He asks the officers to call the FBI.
I'm giving you a legal order to
parking lot.
It doesn't matter. You committed a traffic violation on the road.
Any traffic violation.
You have a third brake light out. That is a traffic violation, an equipment violation. You can step out of the vehicle right now, or you will go.
I do not have to.
Are we getting another unit over here?
That's my First Amendment right.
Okay.
So
you obviously don't understand how the First Amendment.
I stopped in the parking lot. Then you turned on your lights. How are you doing, sir?
Good.
So you just turned on your lights when I was in the parking lot.
Okay.
So I have a First Amendment right.
It's a traffic stop.
For what? I was already in the parking lot.
An infraction based on the roadway, sir.
Say again, sir?
An infraction that happened on the roadway.
No, that's not what happened. I pulled into the parking lot, and then he turned on his lights.
That can work.
Drinking establishment. You guys saw me pull over here. So because I missed my turn, then you turned on your lights after I pulled into the parking lot because I missed my turn.
Right.
Now all of a sudden it's all this whole thing. So you're trying to violate my First Amendment.
That's not what's happening.
I recorded the whole time.
Your First Amendment is a freedom of speech, sir.
So First Amendment, Fourth Amendment, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay.
So I do not have to.
So you don't think your third brake light's out?
Just call if you guys are going to be pushing like this.
No,
I would recommend that I ask for a supervisor.
This is a supervisor.
I'm right here, sir.
He's a lieutenant.
All right. So if what I'm saying isn't resonating with y'all, I'm going to ask for you guys to call the FBI.
No.
Okay.
Yes, straight up.
Listen,
their number is 297. It's not hard.
Listen. He stopped you for a traffic violation.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
That's what you're saying, yes, sir.
That's what I'm saying.
I pulled in here, then he turned on his lights.
That's fine. That's a traffic violation.
No, I was
It's a traffic.
here.
Listen, I'm trying to explain to you, sir.
I stopped, tried to reverse, and then he turned on his lights.
Okay.
Look at how my vehicle's positioned versus y'all's.
Okay, listen. You're not listening whatsoever. You just keep wanting to talk over everybody. Okay. He had a traffic stop conducted on you for a traffic violation that happened on the roadway. That's perfectly legal, perfectly fine. No, he's asking you to step from the vehicle.
No. I had pulled into the parking lot, then he turned on his lights.
Okay.
Period.
Okay. We've explained it now.
Is the detective not working tonight?
No. We've explained it a few different times.
No. period.
Okay, we
That's
good
the law. You guys are trying to violate my rights.
The officer warns him, comply or be arrested for resisting. And when nothing moves him, the officers physically remove him from the truck. He's pulled to the ground, handcuffed. His shirt tears against the seat on the way out.
According to Section 12-206 of Title 47 of the Oklahoma statutes, quote, every vehicle shall be equipped with at least 2 stop lamps, which shall meet the requirements of this section. The statute also states that, quote, if so equipped in its original design and manufacture, every motor vehicle shall be additionally equipped with a center high-mounted stop lamp located on the vertical center line above the level of the stop lamps described in this section, which shall display a red light, which shall be actuated upon application of the brakes. Parking lot? In the 2004 case of Thornton versus United States, the Supreme Court upheld the constitutionality of a vehicle search that occurred during a traffic stop that was not initiated until after the driver parked in a parking lot and exited his vehicle. Likewise, in the 2016 case of United States versus Cone, the U.S. District Court for the Northern District of Oklahoma concluded that a detention in a motel parking lot for a traffic offense that was observed on a public street was a traffic stop that only needed to be supported by reasonable suspicion. In support of this determination, the court reasoned that, quote, it is true that most traffic stops occur on the road, and police are required to use emergency lights to alert a driver to pull over to allow a police officer to conduct an investigative detention, but there is no authority suggesting that a traffic stop must occur in this fashion. Following these cases, a court would almost certainly conclude that officers may conduct traffic stops in parking lots for violations observed on a public road, even when they do not initiate the stop on the road, and that the officer here was within his authority to stop Mr. Riles for a non-functional third brake light.
Go ahead and step out.
No.
Okay. Well, you're under arrest, okay?
I'm not under arrest.
Get out of the car. Get out of the car.
I'm not getting out. You guys are violating. Hey, you can't just
get out of the car. Get out of the car. Step out of the car.
Step out.
Hey, step out of the car.
Step out. We're going to force you out if you don't.
Step out of the car.
I'm not
You're under arrest.
Whoa, easy, fellas.
for me. There you go. You're good now.
There you go. All right.
When Mr. Riles refuses to exit the vehicle, the officers force him out of the truck and onto the ground to put him in handcuffs.
This is where the case law actually matters. Courts have repeatedly held that once a lawful order to exit a vehicle is given, officers may use reasonable force to enforce it. Not unlimited force, but force proportional to the resistance. Riles was warned multiple times. He was given multiple chances, and he still didn't move. You did this to yourself. That's not commentary. That's the pattern this entire stop follows, repeated 3 times. The warning, the refusal, the consequence. Afterward, Riles is charged with driving under the influence, resisting an officer, driving on a suspended license, and drug possession. He fails to appear in court. A warrant follows. Months later, he shows up without an attorney, and the case is still moving through the system. So where does that leave us? An officer who followed procedure, gave repeated warnings, and used force only after every other option was refused. A driver who turned a routine equipment stop into a criminal case by refusing to comply, and who may have believed sincerely that he was standing on constitutional ground that simply doesn't exist.
As the Supreme Court noted in the 1989 case of Graham versus Connor, quote, Fourth Amendment jurisprudence has long recognized that the right to make an arrest or investigatory stop necessarily carries with it the right to use some degree of physical coercion or threat thereof to effect it. In the same case, the court outlined 3 factors for courts to consider when determining whether a use of force is constitutionally unreasonable or excessive: the severity of the crime, whether the suspect posed an immediate threat, and whether the suspect was actively resisting or trying to evade arrest by flight. Applying this framework, the 10th Circuit Court of Appeals, which has jurisdiction over Oklahoma, held in the 2007 case of Mecum versus Frazier that officers did not use excessive force when they sprayed an uncooperative motorist in the face with pepper spray, physically removed her from her car, put her on the ground, and handcuffed her after she repeatedly refused to exit her vehicle but did not physically resist. Likewise, in the 2023 case of Helvey versus Jenkins, the 10th Circuit concluded that an officer was justified in using a motorist's leg to drag drag him out of his truck after he pulled his arm away and leaned into his truck to try to avoid being pulled out of his vehicle. In reaching this conclusion, the court reasoned that, quote, given that officers can order drivers to exit their vehicles, it necessarily follows that they can use reasonable force to execute those orders. Otherwise, the power to order the driver to exit the vehicle would be hollow. However, in the 2016 case of Davis versus Clifford, the 10th Circuit determined that officers were not entitled to qualified immunity in an excessive force claim where a driver alleged that they smashed her car window, pulled her through the broken window by her hair and arms, and threw her on the glass-littered pavement when she did not immediately comply with their orders to exit the vehicle. In this situation, Mr. Riles was given multiple opportunities to exit the vehicle and unequivocally refused to do so. And he also appeared to physically resist the officer's attempts to extract him from his truck. Therefore,
you did this to yourself, and yet the questions worth asking aren't about him alone. They're about how many drivers across this country carry the exact same misunderstanding of their rights into a stop just like this one. Go read the actual statute, Oklahoma Title 21, Section 540, publicly available right now. Then tell us in the comments, was this obstruction, or was this a man exercising rights he simply misunderstood? If this case moved you, hit like, share it with someone who needs to see it, subscribe to Police Misconduct Case, and turn on notifications because we're just getting started.
Because the officers seem to only use the amount of force necessary to remove him from the vehicle, it is likely that a court would find that his removal from the vehicle did not constitute excessive force.
Are you going to stand up and walk to the car? We're going to carry you.
Whatever you guys need.
Well, that would have been helpful like 5 minutes ago, sir.
I've been pretty reasonable the whole time.
No. Other side's one.
Here, hold on, my shoulder's caught under your chair right here. Yeah, just tear the shirt there.
Well, if you don't
Here, I got you. I'm stuck.
There we go.
I'm stuck on your chair. Body camera.
I'm 1015.
Call the FBI.
One time. We're at city jail
Dispatch,
starting
call
as 3-9.
FBI. You guys aren't going to beat me or abuse me anymore?
Nobody beat you and abused you in the first place.
I'd like someone to call the FBI, please.
You can call them later.
After his arrest, officers requested that Mr. Riles provide a breath sample to test his blood alcohol concentration, but he refused. On September 27, 2022, Mr. Riles was charged with driving under the influence, resisting an officer, driving with a canceled, suspended, or revoked license, possession of marijuana, and possession of drug paraphernalia. Court records indicate that Mr. Riles was released on bond, but warrants were issued when he failed to appear for a court date. On June 21, 2023, Mr. Riles appeared in court without an attorney, and his pretrial conference was set to September 6, 2023 to give him time to hire an attorney. As of the date of writing this episode, the charges against Mr. Riles are still pending, and it is unclear whether he has filed any complaints or plans to pursue legal action against the officers involved or the Edmond Police Department. Overall, the Edmond officers get an A- for maintaining professional and respectful demeanors throughout the encounter, attempting to correct Mr. Riles' misconceptions about his constitutional rights, and giving Mr. Riles multiple opportunities to exit his vehicle before resorting to the use of force. Although there are times when the officers could have communicated more clearly, they seem to have a reasonable understanding of the legal framework surrounding traffic stops, and attempted to explain the law to Mr. Riles on multiple occasions, despite his constant interruptions. Additionally, while it's unclear from the footage why the officers carried Mr. Riles to the cruiser after his arrest, the most logical explanation is that he would not stand and walk there himself. And while I believe the officers may have been able to avoid tearing his clothing by exercising a little more care, for the most part, it appears likely that the officers only used the amount of force that was necessary to effectuate the arrest. Mr. Riles gets an F for demonstrating a complete lack of understanding of his constitutional rights, repeatedly refusing to comply with the officer's orders, and potentially driving under the influence. Now, while I understand that Mr.